In the past few years, we've seen some extreme changes to both the availability and the price of food. And here at Everyday Citizens Tactical, we strive to both educate and inspire others in their preparedness journey. So today, we're going to talk about 3 ways that you can ensure your own food security for 2023. Before we get started, guys, please like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. Head on over to our 5K giveaway video because we are going to be giving away a copy of the Small Unit Tactics Handbook, as well as your choice of an OD Green or Coyote Brown Minuteman patch. So head on over, enter your name. Going to be tons of good stuff for that, and hopefully more to come as the channel grows. Now, it is no secret that since the pandemic has started, we have faced a lot of challenges over the past few years. From the pandemic itself to the rise of bird flu, global conflicts both starting and more on the horizon, our supply chain subtly kind of starting to fall apart, as well as many, many other issues such as droughts and parts not being available, so on and so forth. So from the preparedness aspect, it is important that you get your ducks in a row sooner rather than later. I've said it many times, guys, both here and on other platforms, that your window of becoming prepared or continuing to prepare is starting to close. As things get more expensive, you're able to invest less into your preps. And as much as I hate to say it, there will eventually come a time where you're no longer able to invest into your preps. And if you haven't started by then you're going to be kind of out of luck. And we don't want to get caught with our pants down. So let's talk about 3 ways that you can ensure your food security for 2023.
Number 1, gardening.
Gardening is something that has kind of died with the generations. Something that all of our grandparents and great-grandparents used to do no longer seems to be the normal, at least not until a few years ago. However, gardening is one of the best ways to either supplement or completely fill your plates here at home. Whether you live in a neighborhood house with a small backyard, you're in an apartment, or you're on a homestead or farm, there is always something you can do. If you're in an apartment, something as simple as a few pots with a couple pepper plants and maybe some herbs and spices can help supplement the preps that you have set aside in your closet or in some sort of tubs. If you live in a neighborhood and you have a backyard, putting a couple raised beds in the back can really help supplement your food or give you the ability to start canning. One of the easiest ways to do this is by getting the 2x6 by 10 foot boards from like a Home Depot or a Lowe's. You get 3 of those, cut one in half, and you now have a 10x5 raised bed for roughly $30 to $35. And then of course you have to fill it. But from these you can grow things like garlic, onions, tomatoes, peppers, carrots, greens, the full 9. You put 2 or 3 of these in your backyard, along your back fence, or maybe near the side of your house, and now you have the ability to grow food and continue to provide for yourself. Where you are, what grow zone you're in, and what kind of resources you have to deal with is going to dictate this heavily. However, it is something that in reality does not require a lot of time and effort on outside of the initial planting and the harvest season. It does require a little bit of knowledge, and there is a process to that. However, the only way you're going to learn is if you start, and it is definitely something we should all do. Back during the Great Depression in World War I and World War II, our grandparents and our great-grandparents all had what was called victory gardens, and essentially they were able to supplement food within their homes to help relieve kind of the supply chain and needs of the war effort. And as we head into more and more questionable times, this is something we should all look to do. Not to mention, this gives you the ability to potentially barter and trade with other neighbors or people in your community, which we're going to talk about more later.
Number 2, chickens.
Since the rise of the bird flu after the pandemic had already started, chickens have become a really hot topic. Egg prices are through the roof, and the price of chicken meat is not far behind it. And a lot of people have gotten into backyard chickens. And though wild chickens are very easy to take care of, generally speaking, it does have a bit of an upfront cost. There are ways to mitigate this, but this should be something to be considered nonetheless. If you live in a place where you're not allowed to have chickens, such as a neighborhood with an HOA, move out of that neighborhood. That neighborhood's not good for you anyway. But if you are in some sort of neighborhood that does not have those types of rules, getting anywhere from 5 to 8 chickens as a small backyard flock is a great way for you to be able to supplement a protein source in your house. Regardless of how you use your chickens, egg production is going to be fantastic, not only for feeding your own family a consistent protein source, but also giving you the ability to trade and barter. If you have a little bit more space you're working with, even if it's only a 3/4 acre lot, you may potentially look at something like meat birds, whether it be chicken tractors or a separate coop all itself. Some chicken breeds take somewhere between 10 to 12 weeks to be ready for butcher. Others may take longer, and how you decide what type of birds you're going to put on your property needs to be determined by what their true purpose is. Because if something were to ever happen, you cannot necessarily guarantee that you're always going to be able to get chicks, whether that's ordering from an online hatchery or going to somewhere like Tractor Supply and getting chicks. In other ways, you could kind of go this route. They have ducks, turkeys, and other winged friends that can kind of go into this field. Duck eggs, personally myself, are much better than chicken eggs, even farm fresh chicken eggs. So what you decide to do is going to be determined a lot by your space and your capabilities. Outside of this, you also have things like small, I believe they're called American guinea pigs, not like the small household pets, but a smaller version of a stockyard pig. You also have meat rabbits and other things like that. So there are ways that you can do this, and it may require a little bit of time. They may be a little noisy in your backyard if you live in a neighborhood, but it is not something that you should ignore.
Number 3, community.
I talk about community a lot on this channel, and from this perspective, it is really important. If you're not able to reach the gardening or poultry or livestock levels that you truly want to accomplish, community is going to be key for you. Whether that's you trading and bartering with others, you going to farmers markets on a normal basis, or maybe you're buying beef or pork from a direct farmer or seller. One thing that you can do is go to farmers markets this spring, summer, and fall and buy fresh fruits and vegetables, and you can take them home and then you can can them. Canning is a great way to establish a long-term food source. And if you're buying it directly from people in your community, not only are you building relations, but you're also helping support their infrastructure and their ability to provide food to your community in turn. And this turns into a giant circle of support. So you should definitely look inwards on your community as a way to establish your own food security. And in turn, you're going to get food out of it. If you're not in a place where they have a lot of farmers markets, or maybe you're in a more urban setting, whatever this might be, you can also go to grocery stores and buy fresh fruits and vegetables in bulk and then go home and can. Even cans of spaghetti sauce and salsa and things like that, canned goods are starting to get even more expensive. However, you can normally catch fruits and vegetables in bulk, take them home, and prep them when they're on sale. This is definitely something you should continue to look at, which may not include your own infrastructure or time. Nonetheless, you have to continue to develop your at-home situation. Regardless of how you do it, guys, times are changing, and the future is very uncertain. I cannot sit up here and tell you what is going to happen and how you need to change to fix it. All I can tell you is that something is coming, and that we, specifically as Americans, are a little out of touch with the reality of the world. And a lot of other people in the world have already realized what true catastrophe and emergencies really are like. Even here in the US, some people are starting to wake up to this, whether you've been a part of a natural disaster in the past or you were in a really bad place when the pandemic first started. Things are going to get tougher. And unfortunately, at the end of the day, one of the biggest things that are going to determine your outcome and the outcome of your community is going to be the availability of food and then other things like water and other resources. So you should take the steps now to ensure your own food security. Do the things, guys. I cannot stress this enough. You have to take your own preparedness seriously because there's nobody else that is going to do it for you. If you have the mentality that I'm just going to go to so-and-so's house, that probably isn't going to work out in your favor. And if your mentality is, I'm going to go to my neighbor's house and take what they have, that also is not going to work out in your favor more times than not. So take your own food security very seriously. Don't buy that extra plate carrier. Skip out on buying that another 500 rounds of 9-Mo, whatever it might be. Go build that chicken coop. Go build those garden beds. Whatever it is, guys, you have to do the things. That's all I've got, guys. Like I said, head over to the 5K giveaway video and enter the drawing for that. Check out our website for some medical gear, classic patches, and go over to our social media. We're pushing out daily content both on my personal page and then the business page. We are constantly just trying to get information out there, guys. And as I always say, train hard, train often.